Are you carrying the weight of 1,000 feathers? And what does that even mean anyway? Well, let's talk about it. Hello, beautiful friends. If we haven't met yet or it's been a while, let me introduce myself. My name is StephanieBandosik. I am an urban homesteader, a Reiki healer, an energy alchemist, a storyteller, a lover of all things holistic and natural wellness. I am in beautiful upstate New York, the traditional homeland of the Ganyagahaga Mohawk people. And it was a gorgeous day today. Beautiful, sunny, nice and warm, light breeze. If you're tuning in live or catching the replay, I would love to know, where are you tuning in from? What is it like in your neck of the woods today? And let's talk about the possibility of being really weighed down by the weight of 1,000 feathers. Now, this can be something that affects anybody, but it traditionally is something that affects women. So the weight of 1,000 feathers is when we take on lots of little tasks, and each one might be very small. It might seem to be insignificant. You might think it's not taking up that much time or that much energy or that much money. But when you add up a little thing and a little thing and a little thing and a little thing, the weight of one feather, two feathers, three feathers might not be much. But the weight of 1,000 feathers is really going to weigh you down. And as women especially, where we were raised, most of us, not to disappoint people, not to make people unhappy with us. So we tend to like to say yes. So when someone says, can you bring cookies for this event? You say yes, even though you know that you are busy. If someone asks you, can you be the secretary and keep all the notes and email us later? You say yes, even though you know that you're going to be exhausted. And every time that we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else. We only have so much time in a day, so much energy in a day, so much focus in a day. And what happens is, in general, men tend to only say yes to things that will help them reach their goal. So they know what their goal is, whether it's personal, professional, or both. Maybe it's even a spiritual goal, but they have their goal in mind. And when they're deciding whether to say yes or no to a request or a responsibility, they carefully determine whether or not it's going to be a step towards helping them reach their goal. And they only say yes if there is a clear path to that helping them reach their goal. Whereas a lot of times, and again, generally speaking, women, we tend to be the ones that say, yes, I can do one more thing. Yes, I can add one more thing to my plate. But every time we add something to our plate, we're taking time and energy and attention away from something else. There's a joke that says something like, what's heavier, 10 pounds of bricks or 10 pounds of feathers? And the gut reaction is to say, well, the bricks must be heavier. But again, 10 pounds of bricks, even if that's just one brick, is equal to 10 pounds of feathers, even if that's a huge bag of feathers. So again, each individual feather may not be much. It might not be a big task. It might not seem like it'll take a lot of time or energy. But when you say yes, and you say yes, and you say yes to all of those things that distract you from where you're trying to go, it's going to slow down your journey if it doesn't stop you altogether. So I really invite you, especially if you're feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, just not reaching your goal quickly enough, or if you just don't feel inspired by the actions you're taking, if you're finding yourself feeling drained by the actions you're taking, then you're probably not doing things that are fulfilling to you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. We tend to be energized when we do something that's exciting and fulfilling and aligns with our values and goals, and we tend to be exhausted when we don't. So I really want to caution you, first of all, do not take on the weight of 1,000 feathers, at least not without knowing what you're doing, right? If you consciously want to take on something, that is wonderful. I'm not telling you not to help people out. You definitely should help people out, but make sure you're not helping people out to your detriment. Okay, so first, look at your schedule, see where you may be already wearing the weight of 1,000 feathers, and then see what you can slowly cut out. You know, if there are commitments that are about to wrap up that you don't renew, that's sometimes the easiest thing, right? Rather than cutting off a commitment in the middle, it's a lot easier if something's about to wrap up. And they say, you know, would you like to take this on again? You can say, thank you so much for thinking of me. You know, it means so much that I did a good enough job that you'd ask me again, but I really don't have room on my plate right now. I'm as committed or as booked or as full as I'd like to be, and I really can't take anything on right now, although I appreciate, again, the offer. And then as you get new requests coming in, start to say no. And in the meantime, you can always say, I need to think about it. Let me check my schedule. Again, thank you so much for thinking about me. Can I have a week to get back to you? Give yourself time, because a lot of times that saying yes is just a reflex. Someone asks, can you, will you? And your gut reaction is to say yes. So you want to take a minute to pause, and sometimes you want to take even more than a minute to pause. And if it's hard for you to say no in person, again, say something like, I'm going to check my schedule. I'll give you an email in 3 days. I'm going to check my schedule. I'll let you know within a week. And then if it's too hard for you to do verbally, if you're afraid that you'll get talked into it, send a text, send an email, send a voicemail. Send something that you know you won't have to rebut, because you don't want to be arguing with people. So it's so important. There's a wonderful quote that I love, and I'm not going to know the author. I'm going to have to look it up, but it's something like, we aren't kept from our goals by a distraction, but by a clear path to a lesser goal. So, you know, it can be a really overwhelming goal to say that I am going to start a business. So you put a smaller goal in your way, like, well, I'll start my business once I get this room cleaned up to be my office. And then you spend so long cleaning up the room to be your office, you never get to the bigger goal of the business. That often works with fitness too. You know, I will get in better shape just as soon as I have this room together where I'm going to do my workouts. And then you spend so long cleaning up the workout room, you never get to the workouts. So be careful that you're not putting a smaller goal in the way of your bigger goal. It can really feel good to check off those boxes, especially if someone else is asking you to do the task, because they often give you a pat on the back and you're making someone else happy. But you've got to make yourself happy too. You've got to be true to yourself, to your values, and to your goals. And you're not going to reach your goals, especially in any kind of quick timing or expeditious timing, if you take on the weight of 1,000 feathers. So be very careful what commitments you let yourself take on. Be very careful of letting your time and your energy and your finances be scattered. We really want to make sure that we're concentrating all of our energy, mental, physical, spiritual, sexual, all of our energy, because everything is energy. I recently did a post about how safe sex isn't always just wearing a condom. It's being careful who you mix your soul with. And that's true with any commitment we take on. Everything is energy, so we want to be careful what we're doing with our energy. So I am so grateful. I would love to know if you think that you are taking on the weight of 1,000 feathers. I appreciate you joining me tonight and talking with me about this. If you have something you're willing to share, I certainly want to know, because I want to support you as much as possible. And if you have found a way to get rid of those 1,000 feathers, let me know, because I want to pat you on the back and congratulate you, of course, as well. If you find this useful, if you know somebody who is wearing the weight of 1,000 feathers, I would be so grateful if you liked it and you shared it with someone who might find it helpful too, because we need to work together and have each other's back. As always, I am sending you love, light, peace, blessings, joy, and so much gratitude for spending some time with me today. Please take care of yourself, and please take care of each other.